Please take your seats. School is now in session.
Welcome to Homeschool Podcast.
Homeschool.
The Homeschool Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
It's time to document the journey.
All right, and welcome to the show. This is Agostino Zoida. I'm the host of Homeschool Podcast. We know you have a lot of options out there for podcasts, so it means the world to us that you're here today. We really appreciate it. Today's episode, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about road tips again. We kind of touched on it a little bit in a previous episode, and what I mean by road tips is just for comedians, so for up-and-coming comedians who are thinking about starting stand-up or have already started. Maybe you're new, maybe you don't already tour, maybe you're barely starting to tour. We've got some tips for you. So we kind of touched on it, and then I had mentioned that I would like to do a whole other episode on just that. And so that's what this show is going to be about. But this is just like getting started. This is the beginning. I think we may need a few episodes to give you guys all of the road tips and everything. So that's something that I think that we can definitely do. And so today we're going to start at the beginning. Today we're going to start at, first of all, how to get taken on the road. And then I will go into briefly, while you're on the road, some other quick tips for you road comics. Now, there's probably so many tips I can give you guys in terms of like safe travels, smart travel, how to avoid things so that it doesn't mess with your show or your performance. And there's so many things, but today we're going to start with the basics. And with that being said, like what it is, I'm going to start, because this is a question that I get a lot. Is comics will ask me is, how do you get taken on the road from a bigger comic, from a headliner? How do you start to be their go-to person that they want to bring on the road? I am fortunate enough to have experienced that a lot in my career. I've been doing stand-up comedy for 13 years, and I had the privilege and the pleasure of opening for many great headliners, many well-known comedians, and I've done well for myself over the years. It helped me grow my act. It helped me grow as a performer, as a comedian, as a person, and just as a good traveler. We could probably do a whole episode on traveling. But that is a question that I get a lot, is how do you get someone to bring you on the road? That's where it starts, because listen, guys, I'm not claiming to be the best stand-up comedian. I'm not claiming to be an aficionado or, whatever. I've thought about teaching a class, and I am still thinking about teaching a class, not permanently. I'm thinking of trying it one time for like 6 weeks and not charging anybody. I just want to give back to comics, not because, again, I think so much highly of myself, but I do have knowledge to pass on. I do have valuable knowledge that I learned because I toured with so many headlining comedians who taught me these things. And I realized that not everyone gets to do that. I'm very fortunate to have been able to do that. I was only able to because these great comedians felt that they could take me on the road, and that doesn't happen to every comic. So in order to give back, I want to do like a 6-week course or something. I'll write it all out. I don't know when. It's just been in the back of my mind, and I don't want to charge nobody because someone helped me, So that's something that I'm thinking about. Speaking of being on the road, really quickly before we begin, I'd like to thank everyone who came out to my shows this last, it was a Monday. It was a Monday night show. Rare to do a show Monday night show, but guess what? We sold it out, and I couldn't have done it without all of you guys. It was great. The place holds like 150. It was an outdoor venue. It was awesome. It was hot. It was in Folsom, California, which is up north, Northern California, kind of near Sacramento. So if you guys came out to those shows, thank you so much for making it sold out and an unforgettable night. And it was just really cool. If you do want to see me perform live, here's what I got coming up for you. You can catch me tomorrow night. Actually, when this comes out, it's probably tonight. So Thursday, June 30th. I am in Costa Mesa, California. I know it's last minute, but I was just given the date. I'm actually going to be working with my good friend, hilarious comic, sweetheart of a person, Sam Tripoli. He's one of the few guys at my point in my life that I'm still willing to work with in terms of opening for someone. There's very few guys I will agree to open for because I'm just trying to promote myself into only accepting headlining work, but I am making exceptions when it's people I really enjoy working for and working with, and the exception of if it's a venue I'm really trying to break into, it doesn't hurt to open for somebody so that you can see that you're a bad motherfucker. Then they give you a date to come back and headline one of their off nights or something like that. So anyway, long story short, you can see me and Sam Tripoli in Costa Mesa, California. It's tomorrow night or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, which is Thursday, June 30th. After that, guys, kind of taking a little tiny bit of a little break until August 31st. August 31st through September 4th, I will be in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then after that, I got Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska in mid-September. But there's like a whole chunk in July and most of August that I don't have any dates, which is kind of, it's been a while since that's happened to me to have 2 months in a row of no dates. But you never know. I'm not going to push for dates like I have been. I'm going to try to take it easy. I don't like to travel when it's so hot and leave the wife and the dog ditched over here. We live in an older building in Southern California, and when it's hot, it's like 90 or 100 outside. It's like 150 in the house because we got an older building that just keeps we got to run the old school box air conditioners and stuff. And anyway, I ain't trying to give you guys an ear beating about my life, but you never know. Like, for instance, like Tripoli hit me up. Hey, you want to do the gig in Costa Mesa? So there will be things that I will accept if a club reaches out to me and offers it. I'm just not going to try that hard like I usually do. If someone offers me something and I want it, I want to work with those people, I'll take it. So that's what I got for you guys right now. So let's get right into the road tips, if you will. Just to be clear, I'm not saying road trips. I don't know if that's what people are hearing, but I'm saying road tips. It's tips for working the road, TIPS. And like I said, we're going to start at the beginning. The question that I get a lot is, how do you get someone to take you on the road with them? Because it happened to me a lot in my career. I have opened for a number of comics, headliners. I was fortunate enough early on in my career, and I want to say maybe I was 4 years in, Joey Diaz started taking me on the road with him during his rise and come up, where he was becoming, I was watching his shows become more and more full until they were just sold out every time, and doing sold out theaters with him. So that was early on in my career. Darren Carter used to take me on the road. Steve Simone would take me on the road. Jimmy Schubert took me on the road. A bunch of guys. I mean, then I've worked in clubs where I've opened for like Wayans Brothers, Chris Kattan, Maz Jobrani, a bunch of stuff like that. Now, those last few I mentioned, I happened to fall into. It's not like they took me on the road. I happened to be booked there the same night they were headlining. So, but in terms of experience and having value to offer you guys, so here's the answer to the question: how you get taken on the road. All right, we've kind of talked about this in the past, but if you're new to Homeschool Podcast, I'll lay it out for you. The number one thing to get someone to take you on the road, I hate to say, is not being funny. I'm sorry, that's not number one. I wish it were. Some of you, maybe you don't wish it were, because if they were only taking the funniest ones, you'd be like, fucking it. That's how I felt sometimes, but they're not choosing you because you're funny. That is on the list. It's just not the first one on the list. You have to be chill, likable, and easy to get along with. So when they're going to, I don't know, let's say you're a comic who hangs out at the Comedy Store or whatever club you hang out at, in your city or state. I'm just using the comedy store example. Let's say you hang out and, you know, the headliners, the guys who work, the guys who are, you know, or bigger names, when they're coming through, you have to be the likable person to talk to while they're waiting for their set. And I don't mean annoy them. I'm not telling you the next time you're hanging out at the comedy store and you go see Joe Rogan and you run up to him and you're just gonna fucking bother him. That's not what I'm saying. It has to be organic. It has to be natural. And that is a big part of it, is not being annoying. Because I'm not trying to make fun of you guys, but anytime someone is at a high level in something, talking to a low level of something person, you can be annoying to them. And I'm not saying that comics are annoying. I'm not saying because you're not an experienced comic or you're still new and you're still working on your craft that you're annoying. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, if you take a chef and then he gets like a new, I don't know, sous chef that's just started at the restaurant, like even that guy's going to be annoying at first. This guy who comes in and he creates these delicious meals, he's an artist, and now he's got to train this guy. So don't come off as like too eager beaver. Don't come off as asking a lot of questions. Come off as cool, chill. They have to feel like this is someone I could have a really good conversation with, and I wouldn't mind having them with me all the time. You have to also fit their personality traits. It's nothing that you are going to be able to force, I don't think. You can do your best, but I'm also not telling you to hide in the background and don't take chances, don't put yourself out there. It's also not what I'm saying, but it does have to feel organic, and the personalities have to kind of line up. If you are, you know, if you like to party and you like to drink and you're talking to a comic who doesn't like to party and drink, you're not going to do well on the road together. Okay. And let's just say the headlining comic does like to drink. Let's say they do occasionally enjoy a drink, maybe even after the shows, they kick some back and they do like to hang out with the comic and have a good time. That's fine. But when you're first making first impressions with people hanging out at the local comedy club, hoping someone's going to take you on the road with them, it's not a good idea to be like smelling like alcohol, acting like you're doing drugs, or acting like you're drunk. They're not going to take on the road, even if they are party people. Because odds are, if they're headliners at work consistently, they're professional. They're probably showing up for their spot sober, or maybe going to have a cocktail and be mellow and chill out and think about their set and maybe have a drink afterwards. So if they're professionals, which that's who works, you want to keep your composure, keep your maturity, but also seem cool to hang out with. You can have a drink, but don't be all like breathing on people, all loud, drunk, acting obnoxious. Okay. Your personalities have to click. If you've got a guy who's married, maybe he's got kids, he works the road, or even if he's not married with kids, his personality is just, you know, I don't drink, or I like to keep to myself when I'm on the road, or, you know, I don't like to go out after my shows and hang out late and drink. Then you don't want to be the guy who does drink and parties. Okay. And then it works the other way around too. If you do have a comic who maybe is single, or they do like to go out afterwards, they don't want to go out alone. They don't want to be lonely. So you do have to kind of, even if you get tired after your sets and you like to go to bed early, you like your space, you kind of have to do whatever matches with them. They're going to want a wingman, if you will. I'm not telling you to go out all night and do fucking blow and get yourself into trouble, but I'm saying, you know, there's a happy medium to all this, guys. I'm also not telling you you can't have no fun if they're sober. There's a happy medium. If you drink, fine, have a drink. Maybe after your show. Don't let them see you unprofessional. Okay? Don't be like drinking in the green room, especially if you're dealing with somebody who's sober. But yeah, for years I opened and toured with Joey Diaz, and he is a married man. He's got a little daughter, and he also liked to keep to himself. He would, you know, handle his business, make his phone calls. He would write a lot. He would like his peace and quiet. And I'm not saying he didn't hang out with me the entire time on the road. We would. He would call me and be like, you want to go get food? And we go get lunch. And then we go back to our own rooms. He likes his space. He's not really a drinker. he liked to smoke weed, sure, and I don't like to smoke weed. Luckily, in that case, he didn't not take me on the road because I don't like to smoke weed. He always respected that. Nor did he really like to smoke that much with the fans. He preferred by himself later on after the work is done. He can go relax and enjoy. So it never was an issue. And I'm also a married man, and I didn't want to go to clubs and dancing and shit like that after shows and meet chicks. So, but I mean, I've done it on the road. I've gone to a bar afterwards. I like going to a bar, hanging out with the staff afterwards. Some clubs, they won't like you fraternizing with the staff, but there's a happy medium to everything. Sometimes it can help you. Those guys they talk to management like, hey, he was so cool. He bought everybody dinner next door. There's a club in Phoenix, Arizona called House of Comedy that I play a lot, and next door is the Mellow Mushroom. It's a cool late night, like kind of a hipsterish bar pizza place, and you go out there, you can sit outside and you can smoke outside, and they have like their late night happy hour, so you can get like a couple pizzas for the whole table. And I would love doing that. I would love going after the show, the whole staff, comics come, and you could buy a couple pizzas for the staff, like the servers, the bus boys, the ticket booth guys. Those guys remember that, and a lot of them are up and coming comics. They remember that stuff. They'll talk about you to comics who come to town and say positive things. They'll say positive things about management. Let's say management's not there when you're working. They'll come back and go, how did everything go? They're like, oh, that guy was awesome. Again, they're not saying they're funny, but you know what? You probably wouldn't be booked there if you weren't funny, or if they didn't think that you were remotely close to being funny. They would have gotten calls or something saying the comic was so bad, I want my money back or something like that. So don't worry about that. You just want the staff saying positive things about you, that you weren't a pain in the ass to deal with. So again, I'm not saying there's no benefit to hanging out and stuff like that or partying, but there's a happy medium to all of this. So that's something that I like to do. But yeah, for the most part, Joey and I click well because I also like my space in my hotel room and write and do my own thing and shower, go to the pool, and then we would eat together, and then we go back to our room, and I call my wife. Like, we like that. And then I've gone out with guys like Jimmy Schubert, where him and I I've been out on the road with him when he was in a relationship. We weren't trying to go pick up chicks, or he didn't force me to, but I was willing to hang out late and sit outside while we smoke, and he does magic afterwards, and he likes to drink, and so do I. There's a happy medium to all this. So fortunately for me, I think that I have been asked to go on the road often. I'd say number one, I've been likable. I still have both worlds. I'll hang out when you need me to, and I won't when you want your space. And I'm not a pain in the ass to deal with, and I'm funny, and I'm not high maintenance, and I don't ask a lot of questions, which gets us into the next part. Okay, so now we've covered how you can try your best to go on the road with someone. I just handed you a path to try. Okay, now let's say you're on the road. Here's the next tip I got for you. Don't ask a million questions. Okay, don't ask a million questions. Limit yourself to 2 questions in a whole gig. And those questions should be saved for how long am I doing? And that's about it. Unless there's really different circumstances, really different. Unless there's absolutely no information given to you. But don't ask a lot of fucking questions. It is so annoying, and it lets us know you're a rookie, all right? And I'm also talking about when a comic does ask you to do a gig or go on the road with them. Don't bombard them with a million questions. They're immediately going to regret asking you. For example, this gig I'm doing tomorrow night in Costa Mesa, literally thrown in my lap this week. Tripoli text me, you want to gig with me in Costa Mesa? That's all I needed to know. I checked the date. I checked my calendar. I was available. I looked up how far Costa Mesa is from my house. I already kind of knew I knew it was Orange County, but just in case, I checked it up, and I said, yes, I'll be there. I didn't ask where I didn't ask what time. I didn't ask how long do you need me to do? Am I hosting? Am I middling? Am I opening? Am I featuring? Don't ask a billion fucking questions. And you might be sitting there going, well, I got to know where, the address. I got to know what time. Listen, if an audience member can find the venue and buy a ticket to it and find out where it is and what time it starts, why the fuck can't you? This is something I don't understand about comics. Why am I asking you, do you want to do a gig with me? And then you are bombarding me with questions all the way until the gig. Where is it? What's the address? What time does it start? How long do where can I get tickets? Oh, my friends want to go. Where can they get tickets? Like, guys, if an audience member can do all this, do you think the audience member is texting the comic, what time does the show start? No. Let's say fucking, I don't know who, Darren Carter asked you to go on the road with him. Why are you going to bother Darren Carter for a week about the address and what time does it start? Or what time should you be there? Why are you going to do that? There's a little something called the internet. There's a little something called DarrenCarter.com. Or if I take you on the road with me, AugostinoComedian.com. And you don't know my website? Go to my Instagram. Go to my Instagram. It's right there in my bio. Click my website. All my tour dates are there. Information for the people to buy tickets and buy them online. Why are you asking the comic or the venue these questions? It's there. It's public knowledge. Why are you going to be the annoying guy that no one wants to work with anymore? Guys, this is stuff that you should know. You don't need to be asking a comic, what time should you get there? You go to the website. You see the date on their calendar. You see where the venue is. Then you go to the venue's website. You click or you click to buy tickets. You'll see the address right there. You'll see the show time, 9 o'clock. Doors open at 8. Now, why are you going to ask somebody what time should we get there? You're a professional comic. You should know how early you should arrive for your show. So obviously earlier the better, but like if the show starts at 8, you don't want to show up at 8. Especially if you ain't the headliner. If you were the headliner, you would know all the answers to these questions, but you're not. You're either the feature, an opener, a cold open, a guest spot, or the MC. You're one of those. And it shouldn't matter which one, and you don't need to ask. Because if somebody's taking you on the road, you must be ready to do at least 5 minutes. If you can do at least 5 minutes, it means you're at least cold opening, MCing, or doing a guest spot. There's at least one of those three you know. And you should always know how to host also. And it doesn't matter if you don't know about the details. Well, you didn't tell me I was hosting. Should I, what time do you want me to end it? What time do you want me to get everybody's credits? Who else is on? Why is this anything you need to know before you walk right on stage? It don't matter. All you need to do is know about you. Know my 5 minutes. Know what I'm going to say on stage. And if somebody tells you something otherwise before you get on stage about what to say when you get up there or to say to bring up the next guy, that's when you worry about it. That's when they're going to tell you. And if they didn't tell you, then there's nothing to worry about. Just go do you. But you don't ask what time should I get there. The show starts at 8. Doors open at 7. Or the show starts at 9. Doors open at 8. So get there at 8. Or get there at 7:55 so you can get there before the doors open. Or maybe even 8:30. So you're there half hour before showtime. You're not making management nervous. And you're there after the audience kind of already sat down, and they're ready to get drink orders. So you don't bother nobody. Okay. So, yeah, if an audience to go back to it again, I want to hit this one more time because I have no idea why people aren't like comics. This is your profession. This is what you're passionate about. This is what you want people to take you on the road. Why are you not like branching out on your own and finding this information out? Guys, If an audience member can find how to buy a ticket, where the place is, and what time it starts, then why can't you? It's on the internet somewhere. It's public knowledge. And if it's not, guess what? There ain't gonna be nobody at the show. If it ain't public knowledge, there's not gonna be anybody at the show, which means you're probably not working with a professional anyway. Okay? Same goes the other way around, by the way. Not only how's if an audience member can find it, so can you. I'm gonna say this to comedians and bookers out there. If I, as a comedian, don't know where your show is, how's an audience gonna find it? Works the other way around too. I cannot tell you how many flyers I come across that does not have the fucking city on it. Doesn't have the fucking city on it. They might have like the venue name. It might say like 922 Elm Street, West Elm Street Avenue, or whatever the fuck, but it doesn't have a city on it. How do I know this isn't in fucking Florida? How do I know it's anywhere near me? I do that all the time. I'm a comic. I scroll on Instagram and I see there's a comedy show. I go, oh, maybe I'd like to check this place out. And I go like, it doesn't say where it is. It says nothing. I see that all the time. Anyway, moving on about not asking too many questions. How long am I going to do? I understand that this is an important question that you might need to ask. So if you do have to ask any questions and you're limiting yourself to one or two, make it the only one and ask it right before you go on. You don't need a week to fucking prepare. Guys, if someone's asking you to feature, you should have 25 minutes ready to go. And if you have 25, then you have 20. And if you have 20, then you have 15. And if you have 15, then you have 10. And if you have 10, then you have 5. If you have 5, then you got 2. So you can do anything. So why do you need to know in advance what it is? You're not going to go there and do new shit. You're going to go there and do your best. So why do you not have your fucking 20, 25-minute set list in order, ready to go, polished? Why are you not going to do your best set? And then if somebody says do 15 instead, why are you not going to do the next 15 and just edit? Your set should already be edited in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. How do I build a half-hour set? Oh, no, everybody only gets you 15. Everybody only gives you 5 minutes of stage time. Then do 5 different fucking 5-minute sets. And that's how you should have it written in your set list, ready to go. What's with the questions? But I understand that there's some circumstances where you will need to know before you go on, especially if you are a person that needs a specific light. Like me personally, I like a 5-minute light. If I'm doing like 25, 30 minutes, so I'm featuring or something like that, I'll say, give me a 5-minute. Usually when they give you the light, that means you have a minute left to get off stage. Sometimes it means 2 minutes left, and you got to find that out too. Save that for maybe your second question. Not even that. But sometimes I like to know how long I'm doing so that I can say, give me a 5-minute light. If I'm headlining, I'm doing like 45 to 60 minutes, I always just say, light me at 30 or light me at 40. This way I know everything from that point on is I can get off anytime. And then light me again at 60 so I know I don't go over, stuff like that. But knock it off with the questions. And this is why I say maybe don't even ask how long is your light. Are you going to give me a 1-minute light or are you going to give me a 2-minute light? No, motherfucker. If you need a 5-minute light because you're doing 20 or 15 or 10, depending on your set, if you're doing a 5-minute set, you probably only need a 1 or 2-minute light. If you need specific lights, you have to ask them, could you please? Okay. But this is why I don't want you going up to anybody and asking them, what's the light? Is it a 1-minute light or 2-minute light? This is why I don't want you asking anybody. You can't get in trouble for what you didn't know. And you didn't know it because they didn't tell you, so it ain't your fault. You understand what I'm telling you? You didn't know. And also, you can continue not knowing by not asking, which is great. If you get a light and you do 2 minutes and you get off stage and somebody goes like, hey, you ran the light. You're like, oh man, I thought it was a 2-minute light. The clubs I usually do are 2-minute lights. Or, you go late, you're like, oh man, I usually get a 5-minute light. I'm sorry, you didn't, that's usually what I do. The clubs, so like you have a fucking, you have an excuse, you have a fucking cover your ass if you go over your time a little bit. I'm not telling you guys to disrespect shows and go over your time, especially disrespect the headliner or ask you on the road with them. But in case you do run into a situation like that, same thing when I say don't ask a million questions. Is this a clean show? Why the fuck did you ask? If it was a clean show, they would have told you it was a clean show. And if they forgot to tell you it was a clean show, again, that's not your fault. If you ask, now you know, and now you have to follow the rules. Why ask? Go up there and do whatever the fuck you want until someone tells you otherwise. Stop with the questions. All right. Here's another one. This is specifically like if you're hosting or doing tag team with them. But specifically if you're hosting, and it goes into our theme, don't ask a million questions. Okay? Which seems to be the theme of today's road tips. This is especially if you're hosting, which you're going to do a lot when you start going out on the road in the beginning. Okay. Why are you asking before the show starts? Everyone, you're asking the booker, the manager, the headliner, whoever. Why are you asking? Number one, everyone's credits before the show starts. Why are you going up to each comic on the show and asking, what do you want me to say about you? Why are you doing that? Why are you annoying the headliner with that? Why are you annoying the booker or management of the club with that? Why are you annoying each comic with that? You haven't even gone up yet, and you want the other 3 or 4 comics credits already? Motherfucker, you should be thinking about your set. That's it. This should be your main focus right now. The only thing you need besides that is the next comic coming up. That's all you need to know. Their name and if they want credits, or if you must ask them, fine, then you ask them. If you can, avoid asking them in the green room in front of all the other comics, because you're going to annoy people. You wait until you're behind the curtain away from them if you can, outside of the stage area. And you go, so I'm bringing you on first. What do I say about you? If you have to ask, okay? Or if they ask you, fine. But why are you getting all 3 or all 4 comics before the show starts? Why do you need all this in your head right now? Or you gotta write it down for later. What do you need to write it down for? What are you writing it down for? That's how it helps you remember. That's how you help forget your set. And thinking about what you should be thinking about is getting your job done. What they brought you on the road to do. You should be thinking about is, how am I going to do this hosting set? How am I going to do my regular set, which is normally not a host, my usual 5 or 8 or 10, whatever. How am I going to ease into that from hosting style? That's what you should be thinking about. How am I going to do that bit? That's what you're going to be thinking about. And then lastly, the comic you're bringing up. That's it. One at a time. Don't overload your brain with stuff before you need to. Then, while that comic's on stage, no, I take it back. When that comic has the light, not as soon as you bring up that comic, go in the green room and get the other comics credits. When that comic has the light, the second before they go up, then you should be asking. Because now you're bothering everybody asking them for credits. You're bothering everybody asking them a million questions. And then you're going to forget. And then you're going to forget your act. You're going to get in your head. These are fucking gold tips I'm giving you guys. Gold tips. I may seem outrageous, but you don't know what you're doing to other people. Imagine the headliner. He's going last, and he had to hear you 3 or 4 times ask other comics what their credits are. And here's another one. This is probably a good one that we should go over. You may ask yourself, should I ask the headliner for their credits? Now, that's a tricky one, but I will say no. Sometimes, if you don't have a good relationship with the headliner already, you can offend someone, especially if they have a bigger name, by saying, what's your credits? Because they may say something like, motherfucker, you should know my credits. I brought you on this gig. You should know who I am. Now, that might be common sense when you're working with a well-known guy. You may also work with guys who aren't super well-known, but may have the headliner's ego that you have to stroke. So I would say play it safe and just don't ask, because if they have specific credits they prefer, they're probably going to say, here's what you should say about me, or say this when you bring me up. They'll probably come to you. And I would say the only exception to that, I'm not saying don't say any credits about them. You should know who asked you to come on the road. You should know who you're opening for. You should know who the headliner is, even if they're not a huge name. You should kind of know something about them, done your homework a little bit before you even got there, without asking questions. You do your homework a little. But if it is a huge name, you're going to know the credits. If it's not a huge name and you want to say something about them, they might even be a little impressed that you took the time, did the homework, and looked something up that most people wouldn't recognize them from, or don't say anything. But I would say the exception is if you're super comfortable with this person, like you guys have a good relationship, you have a good rapport together, you can say, I wouldn't say, what's your credits? I would word it like this. I would say, is there anything you'd like me to say when I bring you up? Rather than saying, what credits do you use or what credits do you want? I would say, is there anything you'd like me to say? Now, guys, I say things all the time. I'm a writer. People pay me to write for them. People hire me to write all the time. People ask me to fix their jokes for them. I can do this. This is something I'm good at. And I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, the things I do for people fail because they don't listen to the verbatim words that I'm telling them to say. Make note, if you feel comfortable with the headliner, this is how you ask them. You say, is there anything you'd like me to say about you? But again, I would say don't ask unless they tell you something, or unless you're super, super, super comfortable and close with them. Okay. Don't talk too much, especially when you're on the road. I'm not even talking about at the club, but in general, don't talk too much. I'm not telling you to sit there and be quiet, but just be yourself. But also, I would just say have a little self-awareness, which I notice a lot of people don't have. I'm not telling you to shut up and be quiet, be a puppet. I'm not telling you to say nothing. Have conversations, be yourself. But I am saying have self-awareness. That's like the one thing I've noticed a lot of people don't have. Just a little self-awareness. Just, I've been talking too long, or I've been talking too much, or I'm too loud, or, what I would say, especially when they're trying to write their set, or maybe even if you don't see a notebook in front of them, they may be still trying to get in there. You don't know. Everybody has their process before they get on stage. Some people will sit there and look over their set list. Sometimes I do that, or I wrote it out earlier, but now I'm looking at it. Sometimes I'm writing it out right then. If they're looking at their phone, that might be a set list or a distraction. Everybody's got their process. I also like to meditate, sometimes pray. Sometimes before I get to the venue, I like to sit in a little peace and quiet in my thoughts, and maybe preferably in water, in the shower or bathtub or hot tub or pool, if there's one at the hotel. But everybody has a different process. So respect the comics process before they go on stage. And again, self-awareness, I can't preach it enough, okay? I can't preach enough. Like, one of my pet peeves is people that don't know when to not start a long story, or to give you the shorter version of the story. Like, you just saw that the headliner was about to bring me up next, and he already walked out on the stage, and you're like starting a story that you know takes longer. Don't start that story. Tell me later when we get off and we're all hanging out. You guys, it sounds like obvious, but no, people don't know how long their stories take. They think they can get it out before they call your name and you better run out there. And also, why would you bombard someone or intrude someone's mind right before they get on stage when they're focused with a story? Again, unless they're talking to you. Last one. Don't be a nuisance. This could be with another comic, the headliner, but mostly it's for the staff of the venue, the comedy club, staff, servers, management, sound guy, whatever it is. Don't be a nuisance. This is, again, goes back to when they ask about you, you want them to say positive things. And we're not talking about funny. Typically, comics will talk about funny. Like other comedians will talk about this guy was really funny or he did really well, but mostly venues, which at the end of the day is who you want to get booked. That's why you want to get taken on the road, not only to learn things and experience the road and to grow, but you want to be taken on the road so that the clubs can see that you're good too. So at the end of the day, you want to be easy to work with. You don't want to be a nuisance. Okay. So that means not a ton of special requests beyond like, hey, can I get a 5-minute light? That's about it. That's about it. Unless you feel super comfortable with the venue and the staff, and maybe sometimes the guys who run the sound booth or whatever are also comics. They're super chill. I'll be like, hey, are you guys recording tonight? Like maybe sometimes they'll have cameras. I go, hey, do you mind recording my set for me? Or hey, where do you? Sometimes I'll ask like, where do you usually set the tripod so it's not in the way of you guys and no one's gonna steal my phone or shit like that. Like sometimes I'll ask those type of questions, but overall, no special requests. Like, hey, can you turn the mic up for me? Can you play this song at this part in my set? Now he's got to sit back there the whole fucking night. A lot of the comedy clubs, especially the smaller ones, they'll have like somebody busting tables, and they also got to run back there and play music up and down for the comics. But now you guys got to sit back there the whole time because you do a fucking musical act in your middle of your fucking stand-up set. Now, personally, I've never been a big fan of musical acts and stand-up comedy. Now, if that's your bread and butter, if that works for you, that's your whole act. Great, especially if you built something on it and now you've sold tickets, people are coming to see you do it. That's fucking great. If that's the case, they better have someone in that booth ready to go to mind your, whatever, your guitar volume, your microphone volume, you sing, whatever the fuck. If you built an audience and you're selling tickets based off that, hell yeah. But mostly I've never really respected the art of stand-up comedy mixed with a bit that requires music to be played throughout it, or a musical instrument. My thing has always been straight stand up, one person, a microphone. That's all we need. I can go anywhere in the world and I don't have to travel with any shit and I can fucking kill a room. But again, that's me. I realize everybody's different, but special requests can be, I prefer my mic louder. Guys, it happens. I've heard it. I prefer my mic lower. It sounds, bothering them like over and over again about just the sound, the lights. It's too hot, it's too cold. Can you turn the temperature up? Ordering shit at a bar that you don't need to be ordering. Can I have coffee? Listen, guys, the odds of people going to a comedy club and ordering coffee or tea is not likely. They're going to a comedy club and they're getting cocktails, beers, wines, bottles of water. This is the shit the bar prepared for. But now you're in the green room, and guys, I don't want to seem like I'm being like a stickler here, because like if you paid your dues and you're a headliner, and you know what I mean, like people are there to see you, you deserve it. Like if I like a pot of coffee in the green room, I like a pot of coffee in the green room. Like, hey, do you guys mind bringing up, you know what I mean? And also over the years, they'll get to know what you like too, and they'll have it ready for you. But it's like, you're not even a headliner. You should just be sitting there quiet, saying, I'm so happy to be here. So glad this person asked me to open for them. And I'm getting a great experience and I can't wait to go on stage and learn and watch them and learn. But instead, server comes in the green room, looks at the headliner and says, you need anything? The headliner goes, hey, you got a bottle of water, maybe in a whiskey on ice. Great. Then they turn to you, the fucking opener or MC or whatever, doing 5 minutes. Can I get a coffee? Can I get a tea? Now the servers got to go in the kitchen and make a whole pot of. We think they got K-cups? You think they got Keurigs at comedy clubs? They got to fucking go get the coffee thing and put on a whole pot of coffee for your ass while they're waiting tables. And they just wanted to come in the green room to see if you need anything really quick. Bottle of water before you go on stage. Don't be a nuisance. Because, guys, what's going to happen is the owner or the manager or the booker, especially if they're not there or they didn't have time to really, maybe they were watching the show and they thought you did great or whatever, but they didn't really have time to, afterwards, the staff talks, they have meetings. And while they're sitting there cleaning up or counting the money, they'll go like, hey, what'd you guys think of him? And this one server will be like, oh, that guy was a pain in the ass. That guy asked me to get him a fucking tea, and I had to go fucking put on a tea kettle in the kitchen and bother the cooks. And then he came and he asked, and then the sound guy's gonna go, oh, I know. He came up to me and he asked me to fucking turn the microphone down. Like, this is stuff that they're gonna talk about with the staff, and then they're gonna go, he's just a pain in the ass. We don't want to work with him. And then, not to mention, when other comics come to town, the servers go in the green room and they talk with the comics. They go, so how's it been? Who's been coming through here? And they're like, everybody's been cool. And they'll be like, yeah, who was a pain in the ass? Fucking Agostino Zoida was ordering coffee all night. The guy kept bothering me about the temperature in the room. Microphone needs to be turned up. Like, they talk to each other. They talk to management. They talk to staff and the bookers, and they talk to other comics. And now you got a rumor out there that you're difficult to work with. Okay? Be humble. I'm not saying let people walk all over you. I'm saying be humble, especially as you grow and you end up being more respected in your craft. You even more reason to be humble. Be humble, be easy to get along with. Hey, whatever you guys want to do. Unless you see something's really, for me, I'm at a point where like I work really hard to promote, and I know that I actually do have a fan base that comes out to see me at the shows. And I don't like when their comedy is bad, like the openers are bad or sounds shitty. That's a reflection on me. It's, so certain circumstances, I have paid my dues. I will kind of say, help them with tips or like, hey, this doesn't sound right. Something like the lighting. I think the lights are off. You know what I mean? But super humble about everything. Always being humble. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is how to go walk into a comedy club. If you're a comic who's not working, or you are booked that night, you don't walk into a comedy club. I'm a comic. I'm on the show tonight. Rude. Like they should have known who you were or something like that. I don't care if you're new in town and you want to go to a comedy club and show your face. You're just going to the club to hang, or if you are on the show that night, whoever's at the front door, go to the front door, you shake their hand. And listen, by the way, if you are already established, there's probably a different way to go in that's not the front door, and you probably already know that. But if you don't already know that, then how are they supposed to know you? Be humble. Walk into a room, whoever's working the door, shake their hand, and just be like, hey, I'm on the show tonight. Like you got a reservation or something. Now everybody who's paying money to come see you perform sees you walk up like a fucking dope, just like they walked up. Hey, I'm on the show tonight. Like, it makes everything look bad. Like, why wouldn't the person who works here know that he's on the show tonight? Don't do that in front of them. Don't even say that. Walk up, extend your hand right away. They will extend theirs, as that's what you do when you meet people. And you go, hey, I'm Agostino Zoida. Then you can see in their eyes, they might go, oh shit, that's the guy who's working tonight. Or you shake their hand and go, hey, I'm Agostino Zoida. I'm on the show tonight. Like, great. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Always be fucking nice. Guys, I am that little piece of knowledge right there. It has so much value. That is going to make fucking clubs love you. Especially the door guy who doesn't get recognition, or the assistant manager who doesn't get as much recognition as the manager. Like, they remember little stuff like that. So anyway, that's it, you guys. That's all the tips I got for you today. Today was road tips, but like the basics and like getting started, starting from how to get asked to take on the road and how to keep it and how to continue to get booked on the road. So these are road tips in that sense, and I hope it was helpful. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm being a dick, but guys, this is the type of shit that pissed me off because I'm working with openers now and stuff, and I'm trying to teach these guys what I learned on the road. And like I said, I think I do have value to offer. I think I do have tips and advice to offer because I was so lucky that comics were good to me and took me on the road and I learned young. But again, not everybody has that. So I'm extending it. Okay. If you guys want to see me live, I hope to see you at an upcoming show. And like I said in the beginning of the show, you can get tickets to see me at agostinocomedian.com or homeschooledpod.com. I highly suggest that you follow me on Instagram so that you never forget or miss a show, Instagram or Twitter, or if you must, Facebook. Everything I post on Instagram automatically goes on Facebook, but I'm not really on there, but at least you'll know about shows. So, but I'm more interactive with you on Twitter and Instagram. So, plus I release funny videos and stuff like that. So make sure you're following me at Agostino Zoida. YouTube is Homeschool Entertainment. And I could use some love over there. Subscribe. But yeah, this is what I got left. This Thursday, it might even be tonight while you're listening to this, or tomorrow night, Thursday, June 30th. It's the last day of the month, and we're closing it out in Costa Mesa, California, which is Orange County. I'm working with Sam Tripoli from Tinfoil Hat. It's going to get real, homeboy. It's going to get fucking deep and weird. I love working with him because I kind of miss working with him. Because I love the fact, I kind of miss that, like, when I say shit that I want to just fucking say, which sometimes may come across as, like, you know, anti-woke people or whatever. I'm just being real. I'm kind of annoyed at the fact that, like, half the audience is with me, half is, like, kind of offended or they got quiet because they're afraid to laugh. So that's why I like working with Tripoli, is like that. Those people go off. It gets weird. So hopefully you guys can come out. If not, Little Rock, Arkansas, I'll be there August 31st through September 4th, and then September 15th, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. September 16th, Lincoln, Nebraska. That's all I got for you guys right now. I'm sure there'll be more. Hopefully, God willing, people will throw me some more work, and I'll keep you guys posted. So make sure you're following me at Agostino Zoida across the board, and continue to come back here as we document the journey at Homeschool Podcast. I'm Agostino Zoida. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful, safe, and super, super safe 4th of July. And I will leave you with a message. Bob Barker used to leave you with, have the pet spayed or neuter. I'll leave you with a message. Knock it off with the fucking fireworks. You want to see fireworks? Get the little sparklers for your kids or whatever. But even those aren't safe. You start a fire. But you want to see fireworks? Go to a place where they're doing professional fireworks and they got permits for that shit. Knock it off with the fireworks because dogs are running away and you're giving them fucking heart attacks. Anyway, that's what I'll leave you with. This is Agostino Zoida signing out. Don't forget that only love can save the world. Peace.
Homeschool Podcast. Homeschool.
The Homeschool Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that at all.